Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews. We're going to be talking about Godzilla King of the Monsters. There's going to be spoilers in this video. I want to go over some of the things that I've noticed after seeing it for the 7th time today. I just got done my viewing of King of the Monsters for the 7th time. I support this movie. I'm a huge Godzilla fan, as many of you know. So that being said, let's get into it, shall we? Ghidorah. I've noticed that his left head, when he wakes up, is acting all loopy and very slow, so to speak. It's like the idiot brother. And the right head is very hyper-aggressive. I mean, you can tell in one scene where, after he's woken up, the first fight between him and Godzilla, the first time Godzilla is knocked down, you see the right head of Ghidorah snarling. Basically like, yeah, man, get up. We dare you. Bring it on. And whatnot. But you also notice the left head is more curious and it's like, what are these things down here? And he has to be constantly berated by the center head to pay attention, focus up, and whatnot. And I also noticed as soon as his head grows back, the left head, after it gets torn off by Godzilla before the oxygen destroyer hits, this new left head is no longer loopy or acting dumb or anything. He's actually basically as smart and falls in line. So I'm guessing basically when Ghidorah was woken up, maybe his head got hit, or the left head got smacked really hard. I mean, an entire facility caved down on him. Maybe that head had received a very hard blow to the head. Yeah. Anyway. So it could have been that his head, the left head, was just affected somehow or some shape, way, or form by the falling debris, and it had made him a little more loopy than the other two. But as soon as his head regrew, he didn't show any other sense of loopiness or slowness. And that was interesting to me, because it showed that Ghidorah was, or had, three heads, that three separate personalities, but that but the left head's personality seemed to have changed as soon as his head grew back. You know? Which is cool. It basically shows that maybe he is vulnerable to more than just having his head ripped off or other things. Rodan, he belied a level of intelligence that was pretty darn interesting, where he basically, when he first woke up, he was pretty ticked off, I'm willing to bet, to be woken up from a slumber. But as he got up, he saw these things coming at him. He didn't like feeling the missiles, although they didn't do any visible damage to him. It's more like, what are these things? They sting a little bit, but they're not hurting me too bad. They're like little bees. Well, or something that stings to him. But I also noticed the way he focused on the jet that pulled away just before he did his barrel roll. And it was very interesting. The way that he was like, these things are too annoying, so it's time to stop messing around. And so then he does his barrel roll and he knocks them all out. Or the rest of Gold Squadron out. And that was awesome. it showed that he has a level of intelligence and whatnot. And just before he gets to, or as he's being led towards Monster Zero or Ghidorah, um, he's just about to catch the Argo. And the second he really senses Ghidorah's presence, it's like, wait, whoa, the hell with this little thing. I'm gonna have to start protect or get into battle mode here. And it was very interesting the way that he fights against Mothra. Rodan was very brutal with Mothra. There was no way around that. He was very brutal with Mothra, and I understand that. The way that he put her through buildings, smacked her up against buildings, and his heat was charring her wings and fraying her wings. And it was very visceral, but Mothra's no slouch either. I think that Mothra, now we're on Mothra. She is a reincarnator. She basically every life she lives is different yet the same. Once she gets out of her cocoon into her moth stage, she remembers everything from her previous lives. So, if Mothra does return for another movie, once she returns for another time into her moth stage, she will remember her sacrifice that she made for Godzilla. She will remember coming out of the waterfall. She'll remember all of that. Now, her cocoon stage, or her larval stage, rather, is more like a child, which is fitting. It was curious. It was more animal-like. But when she finally came out of her cocoon, she was a radically different Titan, not just in looks, but in personality. She was scared as a larva. She was angry. She didn't kill, but she was also operating on almost pure animal instinct until they used the right frequency to calm her down. I wish I knew how she actually escaped from Jonah Allen and his Merc squad. But you could also see when they showed she was holed up behind the waterfall, she was not happy to see humans there again. She was roaring at them. And then you only later on see that she gets into a cocoon. Godzilla, I do think he did recognize Ghidorah, but not personally. Yes, Godzilla is ancient, but or maybe he did actually. I'm going to redact that. I'm going to actually recant that. He did recognize Ghidorah as personally. And Ghidorah recognized him, I'm willing to bet. But the way that he looked at Ghidorah and the way that he fought against Ghidorah in Antarctica, he knew he had to get these heads gone. I mean, the way that he went right after the right head, he probably knew that was the bully head, the big, or the one that was, besides the center head, the more vicious. And I think that he had to, or he went right after that one, slamming it down and whatnot. It was very awesome to see that these fights, there was personality in these fights. It was great to see. And at the end, after Ghidorah is toasted, you see that Rodan has survived, even though he was basically in the general area where Fire Godzilla let off his pulses. But he's alive, and he goes right up to Godzilla, gives out a roar, like, "You're injured, buddy. I could probably take you." And Godzilla, he gives him a look that says it all. "You stand up to me, you will die." And so Rodan stands down, and he actually bows to the king. And he then gives the same look to the others that says it all. Stand against me, you die. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this. And just a little insight into my theories on the personalities of these creatures and the myth of these creatures. Rodan kind of, he was very roguish. Mothra gives off a very humongous sense of purity. Ghidorah he wants carnage, he wants destruction, he wants the death of humans because he sees humans as an infestation, basically. Godzilla, he wants the balance, he wants to keep things the way they are. Let the earth go its way. But he also wants the earth to remain in balance. Meaning, I think that if humans continued to go their route where they were destroying the earth, Godzilla would have stood against them eventually. But now that the other Titans have awoken and their mere presence has begun healing the planet to a more sustainable state, Godzilla's not calling them to go back to sleep or to go to sleep at all. He's letting them roam free, but he's also keeping them in check, as the credits show and state. It states in one of the clippings, Godzilla keeps other Titans in check. So yeah, that's my video. Let me know what you all think down in the comments if you've seen this movie. What'd you all think of Godzilla? And give me your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. This has been Orange Hat Reviews, and I will talk to y'all on the next video. Have a good night.